I remember the sound of the parking lot lights, that low electrical hum they make when it's dead quiet. I was sitting in my car outside a 24-hour grocery store in East Austin. It was 2:43 a.m. I looked at the clock at least 7 times, like I expected it to change something. My hands were shaking. My face was hot and puffy from crying, the kind of crying that takes over your whole body. I didn't even have music playing. Just the sound of my breath, short, sharp, shallow, like I was trying to hold myself together with oxygen alone. I don't think I've ever felt more empty in my life. Not sad, not angry, just hollow. Like someone had packed up my soul and moved out, and all that was left was an echo inside me. I was the ghost of who I thought I was supposed to be. No job, no love, no plan, no idea what the hell I was doing anymore. That night, I thought I had hit the bottom. But what I didn't know, what I couldn't know yet, was that everything was about to change. Not because something magical swooped in and saved me. Not because I suddenly figured it all out. But because I let go. I gave up trying to control it all. And somehow, that became the turning point. But let me back up. Let me tell you how everything fell apart, and then started coming together in the most unexpected ways. 6 months earlier, you would have looked at my life and thought I was doing okay. Not amazing, not flashy, but stable. I had a solid job at a mid-sized digital marketing agency. I wasn't in love with it, but it paid the bills. I had a boyfriend I'd been with for 3 years, the kind of guy who remembered my coffee order but forgot our anniversary. I lived in a 1-bedroom apartment on the east side with mismatched furniture, fairy lights strung over the kitchen window, and a snake plant I was oddly proud of keeping alive. I thought I had things figured out. I wasn't exactly thriving, but I wasn't sinking either. And then, without warning, the ground started to give out beneath me. It began quietly, like a small crack in drywall that you barely notice, until one day it spread so far across the surface that the whole wall caves in. The first crack came with a text message. I was in a meeting, bored, half listening while someone presented quarterly stats. I felt my phone buzz and peek down. The message just said, "I can't do this anymore. I need to find myself. I hope you understand." That was it. No explanation, no conversation, no warning. 3 years together, and he ended it with a text while I was sipping cold coffee in a glass-walled conference room. I blinked, like maybe I had read it wrong. My chest burned, but I just nodded and kept staring at the PowerPoint slides, pretending I hadn't just had the floor drop out from under me. I went home that night and just stood in my kitchen, turning on the light and then off again. I didn't cry. Not yet. I just stood there like a stranger in my own life. I waited for a call that never came. The second blow came a few weeks later. The agency I worked for lost its biggest client, some crypto startup that had promised the world and vanished overnight. The layoffs came fast. One morning, I logged into a Zoom call with HR, and by the time I logged out, I was unemployed. They said things like valued contributions and tough decisions, and wishing me all the best. But I didn't hear any of it. All I could think was, how am I going to pay rent next month? Spoiler, I didn't. I tried. I really did. I sent out dozens of resumes, tried freelance gigs, even offered to babysit for neighbors. But the money dried up faster than I thought it would. My savings were already thin. I fell behind on rent, and within 2 months I was packing boxes. I moved in with a friend who had a pull-out couch and a kind heart. I told her it was temporary, but we both knew I had no idea what I was doing. Then came the insomnia, and the panic attacks, and that strange quiet numbness that creeps in when you're too exhausted to even feel your feelings anymore. I'd lie awake at night staring at the ceiling fan, watching it spin like it was mocking me for going in circles. I stopped answering texts, stopped opening emails. I didn't want to talk to anyone because I didn't know how to explain who I was anymore. I felt like I had failed at life, at being an adult, at being normal. I couldn't keep a relationship. I couldn't keep a job. I didn't even know what I wanted anymore, except to make it stop. One night, I remember walking around the block in pajamas and a hoodie, headphones in but no music playing. just silence. I felt like I was disappearing, like I could evaporate right there in the middle of a sidewalk and no one would notice. I started thinking things I wasn't proud of, things I won't say out loud, but if you've been there, you know. That quiet voice that whispers maybe, just maybe, this would all be easier if you stopped trying. I didn't want to die. Not really. But I didn't want to be alive like that anymore either. And that was when I found myself crying in my car at 2:43 a.m., parked in front of a grocery store, hoping the fluorescent lights could hold me together better than I could. That was the bottom. Or so I thought. It didn't start with a sign or a lightning bolt or some angelic vision. I didn't wake up enlightened or suddenly understand the universe. It started with a whisper, a thought, quiet, weird, and repetitive. You're creating this. I don't know where it came from. Maybe I saw it in a TikTok while I was scrolling, half dead inside. Maybe it was something my therapist had once said and I'd brushed off. Maybe it was just the way desperation sounds when it tries to reason with you. But it kept coming back. You're creating this. At first I was annoyed. Creating what? I thought. I didn't ask for any of this. I didn't manifest heartbreak or unemployment or watching my bank balance hit single digits. Don't tell me I created this. But the thought wouldn't go away. I would be brushing my teeth. You're creating this. Walking to the store with quarters in my pocket. You're creating this. Lying awake at 4 a.m. with a tight chest and dry eyes. You're creating this. And here's the weirdest part. Some deep, buried part of me started to wonder if it might be true. Not in a self-blame kind of way. I wasn't punishing myself. I just started getting curious. What if there was something else going on beneath the surface? Something I didn't understand yet. So I did what every broken millennial does when they're spiritually starving. I opened YouTube and typed in, "Why is my life falling apart?" Not kidding. That's what I typed. And that's when the algorithm started working its magic. I stumbled on videos about the law of attraction, about manifestation, about your thoughts create your reality. Neville Goddard, Joe Dispenza, Esther Hicks, people talking about vibration and conscious creation and frequency. At first, I rolled my eyes so hard I gave myself a headache. It all sounded like some cosmic MLM. Like if I just thought hard enough about sunshine and million-dollar checks, the universe would drop them off at my door with a hug and a smoothie. But I couldn't stop watching. Because here's the thing. Something about the way they spoke. It hit me in a weird, familiar place. Like they were reminding me of something I already knew but had forgotten. Like they were describing how I used to feel when I was a kid and believed the world was magic. I kept telling myself, this is ridiculous. But I also kept pressing play. Every night I'd lie on the couch, under my friend's throw blanket, phone screen lighting up my face in the dark, and I'd just listen. And then one night, for no reason at all, I picked up an old notebook I hadn't touched since college. I grabbed a pen, and without even knowing why, I wrote, "I am safe, I am abundant, I am the creator of my reality." I stared at it like it had come from someone else's hand. It felt dumb, childish, embarrassing even. But I whispered it out loud anyway. Once, then again, then 3 more times. And for a single moment, no longer than a blink, I felt something shift inside me. Not outside, not in the room, not in the world, but in me. Like something cracked open just enough to let a thread of light in. I didn't tell anyone. I wasn't ready to say it out loud. I didn't want anyone to look at me like I was crazy, because I wasn't sure I wasn't. But that was the night I decided to try. Not believe, not commit, just try. And I did it again the next morning, and the morning after that. And that's when the practice began. At first, it felt awkward, forced, like I was pretending to be someone I didn't believe in yet. Every morning, I'd wake up, still on my friend's couch, still broke, still unsure of what I was doing with my life. And I'd open that old notebook. I wrote the same sentence again and again. I am safe. I am abundant. I am the creator of my reality. Some mornings, I hated it. Some mornings I rolled my eyes so hard I wanted to throw the notebook across the room. This is stupid. This won't change anything. This is just a damn sentence. But I kept going. I added new affirmations, stuff I found in books and videos. Money flows easily to me. I am loved and supported by the universe. My life is unfolding in perfect timing. I am worthy of peace and joy. I trust what I cannot yet see. They weren't just words anymore. I was starting to feel them. Not all at once, not completely, but like tiny drops of warm water melting ice. Then I started visualizing. Not just thinking happy thoughts or daydreaming about winning the lottery. I mean, actually sitting still, closing my eyes, and trying to feel what it would be like to live the life I wanted. I imagined waking up in a room with sunlight spilling in through white curtains. I pictured a warm hardwood floor under my feet, a kettle whistling in the kitchen, fresh coffee, quiet peace. I imagined opening my bank app and feeling calm, like I wasn't in survival mode anymore. I imagined laughing again. That real kind of laugh that starts in your stomach and erupts from your face when you're not holding anything back. At first, I could only hold the feeling for a few seconds, then a little longer, then longer still. It became my ritual. Every morning, before my mind could talk me out of it, before the fear kicked in, before I remembered I was jobless and heartbroken, I'd do it. Affirmations, visualization, gratitude. Yes, gratitude. Even when nothing had changed yet. I started small. I'd whisper, "Thank you for this warm blanket. Thank you for this quiet moment. Thank you for the sun rising again." Sometimes I didn't feel it, but I said it anyway. And then something interesting happened. I started going on long walks. No destination, just movement. I'd walk to the park down the street and put one hand on my heart and quietly say, "Thank you for what's coming." I didn't know what I was thanking the universe for, but I did it anyway. It felt like planting seeds in soil I wasn't sure would grow anything, but planting them because I needed something to believe in. And I'll be honest, for a while nothing happened. No checks in the mail, no miracle job offers, no angels descending from the sky. But I felt different. I started sleeping through the night. I stopped spiraling every time I checked my bank account. I smiled at a stranger at a coffee shop without feeling like I was pretending. Something was happening. Not out there, but in here. And even though the outside hadn't caught up yet, I kept showing up. Every day. Because it was the only thing that made me feel sane in the middle of all the uncertainty. These little practices, they became my anchor. They didn't fix everything, but they kept me from drowning. Weeks passed, and if you looked at my life from the outside, you'd probably think, nothing's changed. Still broke, still on the couch, still trying to figure out what the hell I was doing with my life. But inside, something was definitely shifting. I wasn't crying every day anymore. I wasn't waking up with that heavy dread sitting on my chest. I wasn't dissociating through every conversation. I was still scared, yeah, still unsure. But there was this space inside me, like someone had cracked open a window and let fresh air in. I could breathe again, even if just a little. I didn't realize it yet, but my frequency had changed. I was showing up differently, softer, more open, just a little more aligned. And that's when the first thing happened. I was sitting at a coffee shop one afternoon, a cheap place with sticky tables and mismatched mugs, and I was journaling. Not even doing anything profound, just writing out some gratitude stuff. Thank you for a warm drink in my hands. Thank you for feeling calm today. Thank you for the life that's unfolding. I wasn't even halfway through my list when someone tapped me on the shoulder. It was a woman, maybe late 30s, Latina, sharp eyes, kind smile. She said, "Sorry to interrupt. I overheard you talking to the barista about visualization. Are you into that stuff?" I froze for a second. Was this a prank? Was the universe actually sending people now? I smiled awkwardly. Yeah, kind of. I've been learning about it. She lit up. I run a small wellness brand. We've been looking for someone to help with content and marketing. Someone who gets this stuff. Would you be open to chatting? I didn't even hesitate. Yes. Yes, absolutely. We talked for an hour. She asked about my background, my writing, my story. She said, "I don't care if you're not perfect on paper. I care that your energy feels right." And 2 weeks later, I had a job. It wasn't a six-figure dream gig. It wasn't flashy or dramatic, but it paid my bills. It got me out of debt. It helped me move into a small studio apartment, one with white curtains and a window that caught the morning light. The same window I had seen in my visualizations. I remember the first morning in that new place. I sat on the edge of the bed, sunlight pouring in, and I whispered out loud, "Oh my God, it's real." It wasn't a lightning bolt. It was a sunrise. Subtle, gentle, but powerful. And it taught me something I will never forget. Just because you can't see it happening yet doesn't mean it's not. That's how the universe works. It's not instant gratification. It's alignment. It's resonance. It's timing. I'd been waiting for proof before I believed. But what I really needed was to believe long enough for the proof to arrive. 3 months into the new job, I started to feel something I hadn't felt in years. Peace. Not the loud kind, not the Instagram quote kind, the real kind. The kind that slips in through the cracks when you're not paying attention. When you're washing dishes and realize your shoulders aren't tense. When you catch yourself humming for no reason. When silence feels safe. I had a rhythm again. I wasn't just surviving anymore. I was living. I woke up early. I meditated. I wrote my affirmations in a new journal, the pages crisp and sacred. I lit candles at night just because I liked the glow. I worked with a team of people who were kind, soulful, intentional. I started laughing again, like really laughing, the kind that makes your cheeks hurt. And then, the note happened. It was a Tuesday. I'd stayed late at the office helping organize files on a shared drive. Everyone else had gone home. I stepped away to grab a tea from the little kitchenette. When I came back to my desk, something was sitting there that hadn't been there before. Just a sticky note. Plain yellow. No name, no signature. 5 handwritten words. "You are so loved, keep going." I stared at it. I looked around the office. Empty. I waited. Maybe someone would walk back in. Maybe it was just a kind colleague playing a little prank, but no one came. I picked it up like it might disintegrate. My hands were shaking again, but this time, not from anxiety, from something else. From knowing. Because I recognized the handwriting. It wasn't anyone from the office. It was mine, my own handwriting. But I didn't remember writing it. Not that day. Not ever. I sat down in my chair, held it in my lap like it was something holy. And I cried. Hard. Not a sad cry. A release. Because in that moment, I felt, no, I knew, I wasn't doing this alone. That something had heard me. That I was being met, seen, guided. I didn't know if it was God, the universe, my higher self, a future version of me whispering through time. But I knew it was real. That was the night everything changed again. The moment I stopped doubting. Not because I suddenly had all the answers, but because I finally believed, without needing to. I whispered aloud, to the empty office, to the stars, to whoever was listening. "Okay, I get it. I trust you." And the very next day, things began moving faster than I could have imagined. Today, I live in a cozy loft in downtown Austin. It's not huge or fancy, but it's mine. There's sunlight that spills across the hardwood floors every morning, just like I used to visualize. I hung white curtains the very first week I moved in, the exact kind I pictured, down to the way they flutter when the windows cracked open. There's a small balcony where I drink coffee barefoot and say thank you to the sky. My fridge isn't empty anymore. I have a job that lights me up. I create content, write articles, lead digital workshops on manifestation and mindset and the law of attraction. All the stuff I used to watch from a couch thinking, maybe someday. Now it's what I do. And here's the part that still gets me. People write to me, strangers. They say things like, "Your story gave me hope. You made me feel like I wasn't crazy for believing. I listened to you, and something inside me woke up. And every time, I want to cry. Because I remember exactly what that feels like. To be the person searching the internet at 3 a.m., just hoping someone somewhere could prove that this wasn't all random, that you weren't broken, that you could still build something beautiful out of the rubble. I even met someone kind, present and grounded. Someone who sees me, really sees me. He didn't complete me. He didn't save me. I didn't need him to. Because by the time he showed up, I was already whole. I won't pretend everything is perfect now. Life still has layers. Old fears still visit sometimes. But I'm different. I respond differently. When I feel lost, I come back to the practices, to the truth I now know deep in my bones. I am the creator of my reality. I am not a victim of circumstance. I am connected to something bigger, wiser, more loving than I can explain. And the universe is always responding to who I am being. I stopped trying to chase the perfect life. I started choosing the frequency of it, being the person who already feels that peace, that joy, that ease, even when the external didn't show it yet. And that shift, that subtle inner decision, changed everything. Now, when people ask me, what did you do? How did you turn things around? I say this: I started believing before I had a reason to. I acted as if the universe was conspiring in my favor, even when it looked like it wasn't. I showed up for the dream, even when I couldn't see it yet. And the universe? It met me, over and over and over again. If you're listening to this right now, maybe lying in bed with headphones on, maybe crying quietly in your car with the engine off, maybe just sitting alone, feeling like you're falling apart, I need you to hear me. It's not over. Whatever part of you feels broken, it's not the end of your story. It might actually be the moment it all begins. I know it doesn't feel that way. I know it feels like the world is punishing you or forgetting you or testing you in ways you never asked for. But I promise, I swear, something is unfolding beneath the surface. Something is listening. Something is waiting for you to remember who you are. Not who you were taught to be. Not who you were conditioned to shrink into, but who you really are. You are not here to just survive. You are not here to suffer until something saves you. You are the creator, the origin point, the lighthouse. And even when it feels like nothing is changing, even when it looks like no one is watching, the universe is. It's watching how you speak to yourself. It's responding to the energy you embody when no one's around. It's aligning things quietly while you think nothing's happening. So please don't stop. Say the affirmations even when they feel like lies. Visualize the sunlight even when you're drowning in shadows. Speak gratitude over your life like you're watering a seed you can't see yet. Because I promise you, it's growing. Something beautiful is coming. And one day you'll look around and realize, this is the life I once begged for. This is the peace I couldn't imagine. This is the version of me I was always becoming. You don't have to know how. You don't have to fix it all tonight. Just take one breath. Say it with me. I trust. Because that's where it all starts. If something in this story cracked something open in you, even just a little, I'd love to know. Comment below. I trust. Let the universe know you're ready, that you're open, that you're listening now too. And if this story found you at the right time, like the ones that once found me, like this video, subscribe, share it with someone who needs a sign. Because we're all manifesting something. Let's do it together. With all my love, thank you for listening to my story.